Building a community is like building a subculture for your brand. Focus on more quality and value created rather than just log aa rahe hai, people are coming on my app every day. That's not going to be helpful for you. I think first things first, you do not want to, if you're starting out, please do not try to chase fast. You will fall flat on your face.
Awesome. Shifting gears a bit now, I want to know, and next few questions are going to be around what should we approach towards community building. So, I want to know at what stage should a business start investing in community building?
Okay, I'm going to give 3 options and I want to understand from the audience what they think, just to get a feel. I know we should have done polls, but, please, excuse us folks on the call. I have to give you 3 options, whether it's like, before product market fit, early scaling or mature scaling. If I have to ask you, hey, what stage would you start thinking about retention? Product retention in your company, and people have very similar answers, by the way. Early scaling is when they say, or they say mature scaling, or but bunch of them are talking about early scaling. You actually will think that across the spectrum. You can't think of it at, okay, I need to start like tomorrow. I'll tell you why. Building a community is like building a subculture for your brand. Okay, you can't build a subculture when you're already at a mature scaling stage. Right? Subculture. So I'll explain what a subculture is. We are all associated to our own small groups. There might be a Rotary group, there might be a football club, right? And there's a language that people speak there, which is slightly different. The gaming community maybe, right? And those are subcultures, right? What you're building with a community is a subculture. So you have to start from day 0, right? And the benefits are across the stages. At early scaling, you're going to get a lot of feedback and you're going to have very little acquisition cost because obviously it's coming through the community, right? Once you've hit your PMF, you're going to have amazing brand ambassadors and you're going to build a lot more products around their use cases, right? Because such a great feedback loop's happening. Mature scaling, everything that happened in early scaling and PMF is going to happen, but you're going to build the strongest thing of all at brand. You're going to have a brand identity that no one else, right? So it's not that you should start way earlier, I would say. So that's my answer to when should a business start investing in community.
Sure. I think just to add maybe one point on that in your framework only, I think in the end we're all like any product or any service is delivered for a human being, and humans are very, very innately social, right? And with that subculture mindset, it can be applied everywhere. Like even in organizations, we have our own lingos, we have our own ways to do things, we have our own rituals. So it's always a helpful practice. And like while starting an organization, also we spend a lot of time around what should be the culture. So we should have a same sort of understanding and mindset while building a product for our users as well, or while giving a service to our customers as well.
Absolutely. Community is like an extended family of the product, and if you're okay to go to do that investment, then do it. Don't do it half-assedly though. Otherwise, then you're gonna have another support forum, right? And then you might call that as a community. So that's just one thing.
True. Yeah. So this is one thing I tell a lot of people that don't think of short-term benefits from communities. Always think of at least giving for 6 to 12 months, like have that mindset, and then rewards will come. So like very, very true on what you said.
Yep.
Awesome. My next question is very related. So now that, let's say, people are hearing about community, and today there is a product-led business which has, let's say, few maybe 100,000 users, or few thousand users, few dozen thousand users, whatever be the scale, but sizable scale, and now they want to build a community around their mission statement or around their product. How should a growth or a product leader approach community building at that time?
I'll start off with how don't do it. You don't you don't like set up like a random white page of your community, maybe like a forum. You send emails to tell people you're gonna get value, we're gonna do this, you get them on board, right? And all you do is just send product updates. That's definitely not how you would want to do it. But I understand the question.
Newsletters are not community very clearly.
I think so. I'll tell you what, audience, every community also has an audience, right? And audiences are very powerful, right? We as GrowthX also started as an audience.
100%.
But there's a difference between audience and a community, right? Which is more like two-way communication, right? But let's come back to the question is that, hey, today I am, let's say, around Series A type company, and I'm trying to build my own community UD here. How do I look at that? I think the first thing that I would recommend, and this is probably would save you at least a year of effort, is understand the goal. And I'll give you three buckets of goals that communities typically fall into. Now your goal of your community either is going to be around a product, right? Either is going to be around practice or interest, right? So I'll explain what those mean. Interest is like a hobby that people have, right? And you're collecting all of those people around that specific hobby, right? Across your product, you'll have all of these users who'll have a common hobby maybe, right? Then you'll have something around practice, right? Maybe you have professionals specifically, and to improve their craft, you might have a community, right? Which is practice. And the other one is a very straightforward product, a very narrowed down product community where they're creating templates like a Notion, right? They're interacting with the product itself to create more content, right? Now you need to first decide what kind of community you want to build and why, right? Very important. Don't go for the most lucrative one. Try to understand which is the one that we can fundamentally add a lot of value. Okay, and don't try to look at a massive size. Okay, this is I want to build a community which is applicable to 80% of the people. You'll not be able to do that in the first go. Try to focus on the one that you can actually add a lot more value, even if it's a smaller percentage, right? And at early scaling, my recommendation is once you have, go lean in the sense that go lean in your strategy, but go very wild when it comes to cross collaboration. Meaning, when you're building a community, make sure that everyone from marketing to customer success, the heads are bought into this strategy from an executive top-down level, right? Very integral. Once that is done, then in execution it can be super lean with small resources, right? And everyone contributing to that, slowly adding value and going ahead, right? You don't need to invest super heavy, super quickly. Get some learnings, give about 3 months from your hypothesis, and then keep going ahead, right? I think that's my 2 cents. This can be an entire 4-hour conversation on how you would go ahead. But I think these are 2 really good places to start off with, and I'm sure a lot of you folks will probably figure it out.
Yeah, just to give an example, one of the healthcare brand reached out to us recently, and what I recommended to them was maybe start with one chronic disease as a cohort. That is where you can add probably the most value in terms of building a community. So yeah. Just one more point on that. While we can structure the cohort or the value adds in terms of building the tech stack. Would you recommend people to build or buy the product of the features of communities?
I think of this the same way if I was thinking of a product strategy in general, but I'll translate this application to a community and I'll share an example. In the beginning of any product, your main priority is to get feedback and iterate, go fast. That is the main objective once you've decided that goal, right? So you can definitely go with any tools like there's LikeMinds, obviously, there's Slack, there's any tool. Start off with early tools. But while deciding that tool, also consider, especially in your larger company, is how does this scale if it does start getting really good, right? And when I say how does it scale, should be from a point where in general, companies would want to build their own stuff in any case at scale. What you want to look at tools is, okay, today this tool can suffice at me for 0 to 1 stage, but at scale, am I going to be tied into this tool, right? If I'm going to be sandboxed and tied into this tool, then be very wary and know when you want to switch away, from that tool. That milestone needs to be there. Look for tools that actually you can like just use a particular resource. Let's say I can just use chat of this one tool, right? This tool specifically allows me to embed these things and use that infrastructure. I'm sorry if I'm going a slightly technical. What I'm trying to say is you want to use tools that will help you scale from an embedded standpoint as well. And that's how I would think about. Because in the start, I want to integrate it in my system. I don't want to build. I want speed of execution. But if the tool scales with the business, that's the right choice to do. That's how I would think about operationalizing.
Sure. And that's what you guys are also doing at GrowthX, right? You started with Slack and Tribe, right?
Yep. We are using those. We are building our own stuff out. Just the right balance. In the end of the day, it should be about the user. That's it. Period. Right. And only when product is creating an incremental value add should you start thinking about building. Otherwise, you're building for mental masturbation. By the way, you're just building because I want to build something nice and cool. Right? Don't do that. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Awesome.
Definitely. Yeah. So moving on to the next set of questions, Udayan, because you guys are GrowthX and you sort of help people with the growth mindset. Would love to know few things around how should a community grow. But before that, I want to know how is your growth team structured, and what is the role that community team plays in at GrowthX?
I think GrowthX is still finding his PMF if I'm not honest. Sure, we have a lot of users, we have all of this, but I think fundamentally we're almost there. So we might have a growth team per se in the next 6 months, but fundamentally we are a very lean team of 6 to 7 people, by the way. And to be honest with you, it's just been about 6 months since I quit my Razorpay job and Abhishek quit his current job. We did this part-time. Now, what we have is we have a community team, and the community team is sitting across the funnel just like a growth team would sit, where you have, and we don't have a community manager. We call it something different. We call it community orchestrator. Okay. And there's a key difference with management and orchestration. With management, you're only organizing, you're optimizing. With orchestration, the mindset is around growth, where you are trying to build more community builders naturally, right? That's the mindset we're going to have. And our community teams are across acquisition. We have specifically for value delivery, for retention, for monetization, across the thing. We look at community as an entire full funnel spectrum, and that's how it sits. But it's a community orchestrator, not like this thing. Yeah.
So you are officially saying that GrowthX doesn't have a growth team formally, but it has a community team. So It's almost like saying community is bigger than growth.
Community is just, I think all of these are levers to growth. Like community-led growth is going to be the future. Product-led growth product-led growth is not going to go, nor is going to be marketing-led growth, right? It's just going to amplify. Marketing and product, when they work together, it's magic. Now, when community, product and marketing will work together, it's going to create even more of a magic. But yes, we are a social learning platform. So community is at the very center for us.
So true. And what are some of the metrics, the KPIs that you guys track, and maybe in general one should track while building a community?
While building a community, 2 things to ask for yourself, because you're going to try to chase active users, right? You want to have an active community. No one wants a dead community, right? But active, you need to choose that metric very properly. You need to understand what's the natural frequency for my user, and I'll explain what natural frequency is. You would, if I have to ask, if on this group, what's one product that they use every day? They'll be like Zoom, WhatsApp. What's one product that they use once every 6 months? They'll probably think a long time for, right? Maybe what's one product that they use every month? They'll say maybe the banking or the bill payment apps, right? Now, and by the way, if I ask this group, they'll have slightly different answers. Some people might use some apps daily, but the same app is used monthly. You want to figure out what's the natural frequency for your community first, and then take that MAU or WAU number. Now, the most important thing to understand with metrics is that WAU, MAU is a vanity metric unless you understand what are the input levers to that metric. So what we've figured out, at least, is that how much value are we being able to create, and we have a quantifiable metric for that. How many connections are we enabling every single day, right? And number 3, what is the goal job to be done? Like what we've realized, by the way, is that career, so we are essentially like we are part of someone's career journey right from 22 first job to they becoming like a VP of marketing at Flipkart, right? And we've realized that the career journey is very lonely for everyone. And across different stages, everyone's having a different job to be done. And how are they progressing? How does an early stage professional become a mid-career, and mid-career jump the chasm to leadership? Are we able to fulfill that job to be done at their own time space? That's how we track stuff. But you can start small, and you should definitely focus on more quality and value created rather than just log aa rahe hai, people are coming on my app every day. That's not going to be helpful for you.
That career being a lonely journey reminded me one of the quotes from Naval, where he says life is a single player game.
Oh. No, and career gets even lonely. Like, early stage you have a lot more peers, and as you progress in your career, it gets lonelier and lonelier. And there are different challenges with that. One of the things that we are trying to solve at GrowthX.
I want to know, maybe because, a lot of these like people in the audience at Community Hood have been individual community builders as well. And there are few startups who are now thinking of being community first. What are some of these strategies, that people can use to grow fast in terms of their community?
I think first things first, you do not want to, if you're starting out, please do not try to chase fast. You will fall flat on your face because you would not know what to solve for, right? What you want to really, you might have seen a lot of these communities which grew really fast but have very low engagement, or grew very fast and they are now dead, right? The reason is because that first and foremost, I think it's very important to understand that niche where you can truly add value, right? And what is that pain point for users? You want to give and I would say 100 is also a very good number. For 2.5